Hi everyone, this is Kuljana Latif Firdausi, an artist, illustrator, and designer. Welcome back to my home studio. And today I'm going to show you how to create this simple leaf pattern with tiny florals. We're starting with these curved lines that move opposite to each other, and I'm just placing them randomly across the page. Nothing too planned here, and this will become the base structure for the whole pattern. In surface pattern design, the base structure is how your elements move across the page, and there are a few common ways this can happen. Sometimes patterns flow in a very linear rhythm where everything moves in a straight or structured direction, and other times it's more flowing or curvy linear where elements follow soft wave like paths, which is what we're doing here. You can also have patterns that are more random and scattered, but even those usually have some hidden structure underneath. Today I am working with the Ohuhu acrylic markers, and you can find the link for these in the description. This isn't sponsored, they are markers that I've purchased myself. They provide dual nib tips with good capacity, smooth flow, and they allow for very precise variation in line weight, which is particularly useful for this kind of a flat illustration that we're doing today. Now, one thing that you'll notice is pressure really matters with acrylic markers, and when I want thinner lines, I hold the pen upright. When I am making the leaves, I tilt it slightly so I can get broader strokes. Instead of directly drawing leaves on these lines, I find using smaller branches useful. Those branches can then split into even smaller ones, and then finally we can add our leaves to them. I will keep repeating this as I move across the page, and at the same time I'm going to keep the spacing somewhat even by just eyeballing everything. If you feel like your pattern is not looking right the first time, that's okay. That is something that you can improve with practice. The whole way of thinking about patterns, structure, repetition, and nature is something I've always connected with from the work of William Morris. William Morris was a designer from the 19th century, and he is often considered one of the most important figures in the arts and crafts movement and textile design. What I really love about his work is how deeply inspired it is by nature, leaves, flowers, and vines, but everything is still very thoughtfully composed. He believed that design should be both beautiful and meaningful, and a lot of his patterns were created for wallpapers, fabrics, and interiors. Even today, his work feels incredibly timeless. I remember discovering his work back in design school and just being completely obsessed with how detailed everything was, but still looked so balanced. Let me know in the comments if you're familiar with his work or who your favorite artist is that inspires you to create. Now, coming back to the pattern, I am just scanning the page and figuring out where things feel empty. I want the whole pattern to feel full and balanced, not crowded, but also not leaving awkward gaps. I am going to start adding these tiny little dashes using the tip of my pen. These are placeholders for where the flowers are going to go. They help us understand where each stem is coming from before we actually draw anything. I know right now everything is looking pretty flat, but this is where we are going to introduce our contrasting yellow color and make the pattern come alive. I am starting to add really small floral details. They are little soft clusters, almost looking like tiny jasmine buds sitting on the branches. And as you can see, once I start adding them, there is more depth, more texture, and the whole pattern feels so much richer. This is how the pattern turned out. If you like this and want to see more of these patterns and processes, make sure to subscribe and follow along. I'll see you in the next one.